Good morning, friends. It feels like it has been weeks, kind of has been weeks since I've seen you all, or since I really worked on the camper. If you guys missed it, I started at the beginning of December doing Vlogmas, which quickly devolved into sitting on the couch and me no longer vlogging because I figured you didn't want to see me just sitting down with my broken ankle. Now, good news is, I don't know if I can do this. Ooh, I have a boot. And I am now able to walk without crutches, which means I'm much more mobile than I was a couple weeks ago, and I'm able to get back to the camper. Of course, in divine timing, that also meant that the rain started this week. I did need to cover the camper again, which was a bummer, but I'm just glad that we had the tarp from the last storm. So today I'm going to start off by uncovering that, and then I'm going to get to the rest of sealing the camper. Now, the other day in between the rain, I did not record this because it was a race to the finish. I replaced the vinyl trim around the clamshell and I recaulked all of those seams. Today I'm going to continue working on the exterior just to make sure that it is completely sealed, so in the coming weeks I can work without the camper being covered any longer. And I'm going to do that by replacing all of the exterior doors, so like the water fill, the water drain, all of that good stuff on the driver's side of the camper. And then I'm also going to be replacing the marker lights. Now, that wiring might work, I'm not exactly sure, but these lights are original to the camper, and I would imagine that some of those bulbs are burnt out. In addition, they're not super efficient, so I'm going to be replacing them all with LED marker lights. I think they're going to work a lot better, last a lot longer, and use a lot less power, and if I'm going to do that, I might as well do it while the camper is still stripped on the inside. So let's get into it, and let's get going. It's time to get this camper built.
I breathe fire with every breath. It's a marathon, so I never rest. No, you wanna feel my shoes, you know you wanna lose. I make moves like I'm playing chess. Always AP when I need success. Great A, DNA, you could say I'm blessed. So I'm coming up now. I'm ready for the big time. I'm headed for the finish line. On top, 'cause the world is mine. I'm ready for the show. You're gonna see me glowing in the spotlight. I'm ready for the big time. Front page got the breaking news. An emperor with the royal brew. I'm taking off, drinking rocket fuel. So somebody hit the lights. I'm gonna drop the mic. Big time, take a center stage. I make the crowd go wild. Encore again. Street time with my name statue in my face. I'm coming up now. I'm ready for the big time. I'm headed for the finish line. On top, 'cause the world is mine.
Alright, so I got all the holes in the side of the camper cut out or enlarged. I am going to need to polish the fiberglass, which is what I'm going to do to the entire thing, the entire camper, before actually installing these. But it's just nice to know that when I do polish the camper, which hopefully is going to be later this week, I'll be ready to pop these in with some butyl tape and sealant and get one step closer to having the camper fully sealed. I'm going to start in the back of the camper, but I do also have marker lights up front. Probably not going to get to those today, but let's at least just start and see how far we get. So I just purchased these off Amazon. They're nothing special, just quality marker lights for car, truck, and trailer. The one thing that I did make sure to do though is get LEDs, so that way again, they will last longer. Hopefully they'll be brighter and just overall perform longer and better than what I currently have. I'll just pop these out and show you guys what they look like. They are very basic, just these little orange like rectangle lights. And you can kind of see up here in the corner that I previously had the circular lights. Totally fine, but I do prefer the look of these. So I'm hoping that they fit on this flat part of the camper, since if you go any higher, it does start to curve. So I'm just gonna pop out one, probably this most outer one for right now, just to make sure that this is actually going to sit like it should, and then I'll get to wiring.
I'm spending money like I just got paid. $100 bills, tell them keep the change. Come on. bottle, about to make it rain. Let me give you something now to celebrate. Come on. And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, 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 I just feel so good.
So I know it's kind of behind the ladder and hidden, but I think that looks so much better than these do. Let's get on to the rest of them.
I just feel so good, good, good. Oh, 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 I just feel so good.
So we almost finished, but unfortunately, right at the end, we have 3 lights left. I ran out of the electrical connectors. I have a bunch of 12 gauge wire connectors, but these guys are between 16 and 14, which are 2 completely different sizes. So we're gonna head to town to go get more of those, and while we're there, I'm also going to pick up some fiberglass polish, because instead of painting this thing, I'm going to try to restore it. So I'll see you guys out there. And my mom just brought me coffee. Thank you. Love you. I just completely busted your nose. Are you okay? Okay, this looks absolutely ridiculous, but I think it's gonna work.
They call me trouble, I'm a rolling stone, 'cause I'm making ruckus wherever I go. They call me rebel, I'm a dangerous one, I'm a long lost soul, always on the run. They call me legend, call me renegade, they call me reckless, yeah, they all know my name. When I walk in, they get off their feet, 'cause I'm a black sheep.
So it feels like it's been a super productive day so far. We were able to get almost the, well, half of the driver's side completely buffed out, nice and shined up, and it's looking so much better than it did even this morning. So I'm really excited to get to the rest of the camper to make it look basically like new. You might have noticed that I did take off some of the decals, which I feel like is going to be very controversial, but I will be saving the Bigfoot, wherever it says Bigfoot, and the little Bigfoot guys, because I think they're super cute, and just it's cool to keep some of that original design or those original features. But I did take off a lot of the stripes that went along the sides just because they were wearing really poorly, and in a lot of places they were missing completely. So to keep it looking as nice as I could, I did take those off, and in the future I might go to replace them, but for now I think it looks better just simple. My dad and I were in the middle of putting on this external vent that I'll show you. So as you can see up here, this used to be a vent for the oven that was inside, or the stove that was inside, but I'm going to be taking that out and no longer using this vent hood. Instead, I'll be putting a max air fan up in this area. Because I'm not going to fiberglass this and paint the whole camper, I decided to get something that would just match a little bit better. So as you can see, I went with black. You can still see some of those old screw holes down there. They will be sealed and they will be covered by the vent that snaps onto this piece. But unfortunately, in true build fashion, I don't have the proper screws to install this. Unfortunately, it didn't come with anything. And even if it did, they probably wouldn't have been stainless. And to avoid the issues that we've been facing in remodeling this, I want to go with stainless wherever I can to try to prevent that corrosion and make it easier in the future to upgrade, make modifications, or take things out if I need to. I'm going to move beyond those Craftsman lights because it's a little bit harsh, but as you can see, those holes are still open as well, and the reason is I'm indecisive at best. I've decided that I'm gonna try to keep things as uniform as possible just to keep it looking clean. I'm spending the money on the stuff anyways, so there's no additional cost to get it in a different color. And so instead of going with the polar white option, which actually doesn't even fit the camper or match the camper color itself, I'm gonna go ahead and send those all back and order black fixtures. I know right now I only have those two things there that you can see, but once those stripes are off, that propane box is going to be painted black. All that metal trim will be painted black. These will all be black. I'm going to be getting this covered up. That's the old propane heater hole with the original hardware, but that will also be sprayed black. This ladder, and I don't know if you can see the railing that kind of tucks up into there, is going to be rhino linered. And it just feels like one of those things that I can do with no extra cost or time involved, so I might as well make it look as professional as possible. It doesn't really matter, it's not going to affect the function whatsoever, but it will look nice for myself and forever has this camper in the future. So we are going to have to go to the store to get those screws, and while we're there, I think we're going to check out some hardware as well. But before we head out, I did want to just talk a little bit about this ARB touring awning that I opened a couple minutes ago. It is 6.2, I think, so about 6.25 feet long. It is the touring model, so not the high-end ones that come with the fancy outside exterior. Weighs about 39 pounds, and this canvas, I'm not going to pull it up right now, but it unzips the entire way. This furls out, and then I have these poles that help support it, guy lines that help support it, and it also came with some wiring because this bad boy has lights on it, which is going to be super nice when I'm at camp. It does feel kind of silly to be thinking about an awning and setting up camp when there's literally nothing else in the camper right now, and I'm so far away from finishing and actually getting to enjoy it. But it is something that I needed to decide on now because the fiberglass itself, maybe it would be okay, but I don't trust it to support the weight of this, especially because it will be open in potentially inclement weather where there could be wind and tension put on this piece and therefore the fiberglass that's supporting it. And so before I put walls in, before I get everything else done on the inside, I want to make a mounting plate on the inside of the fiberglass to help reinforce it and make sure that it is strong enough to withstand winds as we drive down the highway or when we're set up at camp. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean up a little bit around here, head to the store for those screws, and cross our fingers that we can finish up at least one of these panels by the end of the day. So, shocker, I did not finish those projects that night. We got home after dark and in the rain. And so the camper is now, I'm very blue. The camper is now completely covered. It is pouring rain, like absolutely pouring. I think we've gotten close to 4 inches in the last 48 hours. That's a big difference, I know, but it's pouring in California. I honestly don't think I've seen rain like this since I was a little kid. It's just, if you know anything about the West or the Southwest, I guess, we don't get this kind of rain ever. So it's a bummer. It's been a huge damper on the project because I'm now stuck inside. But one thing that it has granted me that I'm actually really grateful for is time. All right, much better. My hands are free, the lighting is good, no umbrella. This has granted me time, and time that I have needed and wanted for so long to do something that feels pretty major, at least as someone who runs this channel. Some of you may have already noticed, so if you did, good for you. I have switched everything over from Alex Lives Well to She Roams Wild. Something that is still broad enough that's going to allow me to live my life and share all aspects of it with you without being so broad as Alex Lives Well. Since I first chose this channel name, I never really loved Alex Lives Well, and in fact, I did like She Roams Wild. If you guys have ever listened to my podcast, it's the She Roams Wild podcast. But I felt like it was just too big to live up to at that point, as I had never built anything out. I had never been on the road or really done any of the things that I have now done almost 2 years later. This change is going to be across all of my platforms, and it doesn't mean that my content is going to change. If anything, it just means that I'm going to be more of myself, sharing more of the things that I love, sharing more of my travels when we finish this freaking camper. And it also is going to open up a whole world of possibilities in terms of what I can actually give you guys and still be in alignment with my channel name. The other reason I'm moving over to She Roams Wild, two reasons actually. One is that, you know, men, I love you. You guys are here. It's great. You're also supportive in the comments, so no hate. But I do really want to reach and build a community of other women who either love the outdoors, love adventure travel, want to travel as a solo female, and hit that audience a little bit more, because it's something that I'm really passionate about, getting more women outside and empowering them to feel confident in these spaces. And it's also something that I was seeking out when I first started. In addition to the channel name changing, I've also moved everything over on Instagram and TikTok, as well as my Patreon. So you'll now find me there. All the links are updated in my profile and will be updated in the description as well. And on top of that, I relaunched my website. I told you guys I've been busy. I wasn't kidding. This website already has a handful of posts, but the main things right now are gear lists, trip announcements if you want to go travel with me in 2023. There's a survey there right now, and my newsletter. So every time we have a major update or there's a fun new blog post out, being on that newsletter will get you firsthand access to that information before anyone else who's just perusing the internet. My goal is to have one blog post to go up each week. Like I said, there's already a handful there, but there's even more categories that you can check out just to see what you might expect from me in the future. I could have never imagined how this community and this page could have grown in the last year, and I'm so grateful for all of your support through the many transitions that Tara and I have gone through in the last 365 days. Without you guys, I would not be able to pursue this line of work. I would not be making any income, which if you haven't seen, I released a short the other day on how much I made this year. And I wouldn't get to chase after this major goal of mine, which is to be self-employed, to be self-sustainable, and to be on the road full-time, at least for now. While I'm not someone who believes in the first of the year being some fresh start and that we're magically different people, I do think that it's a great time to recommit to our goals and to evaluate what we want to do for the year to come. So if you've made it this far, maybe leave a comment down below about one of your goals or intentions for the new year. I would love to chat about that with you guys and just hear your feedback. What do you guys think? Are you excited? Is She Roams Wild gonna be as cool as I think it is gonna be? Enough talking for today though. I will see you guys here next Sunday. Bye.
Honey, there's plenty I don't believe. Plenty of things that mean nothing to me. But if there's one thing I know to be,